Hello and welcome to round 2 of the Just Car Insurance Australian Drifting Grand Prix. I'm your host Andrew Hawkins and we're here at the Calder Park Thunderdome on our custom built track which provides some of the best drifting action on the planet. First up, let's take a look at what drifting's all about before we take a tour of the track and then head into qualifying. Drifting is motorsport meets extreme sport. Instead of being the first across the finish line, drivers are judged like in freestyle motocross or skateboarding. The judges outline the course and what they want to see, and during solo qualifying runs, drivers are assessed on that plus their line, speed and angle. The driver's qualifying score then determines who they go up against in the top 32 tandem battle eliminations. Drivers go head to head and they are then judged on their proximity and emulation. Basically, the aim is to drive as close to the car in front and copy or better their driving. Each driver gets a lead and follow run and 3 judges choose a winner or a rerun. It makes for fierce racing, an action that can't be beat by any other motorsport. The Just Car Insurance Australian Drifting Grand Prix is the country's national series and where the best drifters come to prove who's number one. For more info on judging, rules and the series, head to the website australiandriftinggp.com.
I think this is going to be the event of the year.
I really like the dome because of the walls. You know, I love to run up against the walls nice and hard, and they're all outer clipping points, which I really enjoy. It allows you to get like a really good tandem battle happening. So
it's a very technical track, and you know it's really exciting and fun for the drivers. And you know, getting as close to the walls as possible is definitely a huge rush.
There's not much room for mistakes. You got to be on the ball. I reckon it's cool. I reckon it's perfect for drifting. Like, you got walls, you're going to have proximity, emulation, everything. It's made for it pretty much. It is. Yeah, I love getting up close to walls. So.
The atmosphere and the amount of people that are here today. It was a good turnout.
It's awesome, I love it.
It's just good fun to watch.
The car feels awesome, it's loving the track, you know, I'm loving the track. Yeah, it's awesome, awesome. I can't wait for today to start. Thanks.
Okay, let's take a tour of the track now. On board with Danny Williamson in the KW suspension. Achilles Radial S15, they get a run up and down the straight, get as much speed as they can to initiate the drift around that chicane, set up to run down the wall. They want to get as close as possible to those noodles, which are the outer clipping zone, and then through the horseshoe before coming up the bank to the Achilles Radial corner. They want to go under those noodles, which are the second clipping zone, back down the bank, and will get as close as they can to the last outer clipping zone on the grass. A short track, but very technical and very exciting to watch. Now let's take a look at the runs from our top 2 qualifiers. They were equal in points, but Luke Fink took the number 2 spot in the Holford Motors S14. Let's check out his run. Full acceleration, then initiates nice and close to that wall, tears off the front bar, then runs right on those noodles. Can't get any closer than that. Runs a nice outside line through the horseshoe, up under the second outer clipping zone, back down the bank, hits it to perfection. And that is a textbook run from Luke Fink. Lots of aggression, lots of speed, and hits every single clipping zone. Let's jump on board and see what it's like from the driver's seat. Look at that, full acceleration all the way to then initiate the drift nice and early. Let's see Rob White's run now in the Monster Energy 350C. He accelerates and starts nice and early as well. Lots of angle as he throws it right there, right on the wall of that outer clipping zone. Perfect line through the horseshoe, out nice and wide, under those outer noodles, the Achilles Radial corner, back down the bank to hit that last outer clipping zone. Textbook stuff.
Yeah, qualifying went really well. You know, went out, the car felt really good. Yeah, we just went out and did 2 really good laps. My first one, did a nice safe run. Second one, went out and tried to do something a little bit more, you know, glamorous, and it pulled off. So we got number 1 spot and I'm stoked.
Well, let's take a look at the rest of the top 10 qualifiers. Mohamed El Houli put on a blinding, exciting and very aggressive run to take third. Nick Coulson, the Drift Kid, very consistent all weekend, took the number 4 spot. The Godfather in 5th. A lot of local boys in this top 10. Ender, Nigel Petrie, Kuda and John Papadopoulos, and Jared Klingberg rounds out the top 10. Now, let's meet up with another one of our registered drivers.
Hi, I'm Agus from the Insane Drifters, driving the Just Cars Insurance Red 180SX, and I'm from Victoria. Last year the championship was good. Being runner-up to Luke Fink, it was tough, hard battles all through the year. Big competition, some big names in the events. Got to live up to my expectation this year. Got to try and better it. So hopefully I can do that. We were down on power in Tassie. Yeah, it wasn't good. We had just some car dramas during the day. We actually had to fix the car up on the track prior to the event, which made it a bit hard to drive in. Limited time on the track. Wasn't too happy with the overall result, but I'm hoping to better it today. So we addressed all that problem. Dr. Drift, spent about 15 hours on the dyno, tuning it. So the car's A1. Yesterday we somehow fried a clutch, so we borrowed High's spare clutch. That's in the car now. We fine-tuned it. Everything's running well, so no excuses. Just Cars are on board again this year. They help us out a lot. #1 sponsor for the event, and we've got the privilege to have them on board. I've been with Just Cars with all my cars, since I was a young chap, and having someone to help you through the rounds and back you, it makes it so much easier.
Hi, I'm Simon from Just Car Insurance, and we're here at round number 2 at Calder Park Raceway at the beautiful Thunderdome for the 2012 Just Car Insurance Australian Drifting Grand Prix. What made Just Car Insurance get back on board for the 2012 season is it was a great success in 2011. We love the fans, we love the drivers, and we want to support this up-and-coming drift series and event in Australia. But the highlights was the fact that it was actually the first proper series coming to Australia to bring drifting and put it back on the pedestal and put it into people's minds. The whole event itself was great because, again, it allowed people to see what drifting was truly about. Look, my thoughts are it's actually bigger and better than last year. It was hard to actually think that it's going to be bigger and better, but it is. People are a lot happier. The action's a lot closer for the crowd themselves. And I think everyone's having a real good time. In terms of my favourite driver, favourite team, has to be the Insane Drifters. That's why we backed them up. They're really, slogging it hard out there, and they're doing really well. So we're backing them up again for 2012 to, get some runs on the board. Well, basically, our customers are into this type of sport and into this type of driving. This gives these guys an opportunity to watch this in real life. We understand young drivers. We understand the types of cars they have and modifications that they want to perform on their cars. Most other insurers would not understand their cars, not know what they were talking about, and maybe not even offer them a policy. We're here to say yes and not say no.
You're watching round 2 of the Just Car Insurance Australian Drifting Grand Prix. We're about to continue our top 32 tandem battle highlights and meet another one of our registered drivers.
I'm Ryan Slide Cummings. I'm from Queensland and I'm the pilot of the Slide Industries S13. So our Sylvia doesn't run the conventional SR20. We've gone for an RB25 DET power plant, which is generally out of a R33 Skyline. It runs a Slide Industries intake system as well as turbocharger and manifold. And we're running 450 horsepower for this weekend. Our Sylvia runs Lubrimax lubricants, an MPC clutch, twin plate, and a catalogue of parts from Slide Industries. So we qualified 12th and ended up battling through to finish 10th in Tasmania. So Tasmania was a good round for us, but we sustained a lot of damage. Went for an excursion through the gravel trap and yeah, my body kit decided to exit. But you know, we're back here at Calder Park Raceway, and the car's looking fresh again. So we've been here last year, so we've refined our setup, knowing exactly how we want the car to perform. I think this is going to be the event of the year. It's a very technical track, and you know, it's really exciting and fun for the drivers. And you know, getting as close to the walls as possible is definitely a huge rush.
Okay, heading into the top 32 battles now. Let's take a look at some of the highlights. Rob White and Michael Prosnick. Michael Prosnick qualified in the 31 spot after car drama, so he knew he had to drive hard against Rob White, which is exactly what he did, pushing very close to Rob White on the first run, applying a lot of pressure, and the advantage almost heading his way, making it a very, very tough battle for Rob White in the Monster Energy 350Z. On the second run, Rob had to push hard. He wasn't able to get there at the start of the run, but a correction from Prosnick on the first corner and a wall tap meant that the advantage then went back to Rob White, and he was able to take the win and move through to the top 16 battles. Lots of upsets in the top 32. The first one, Kudar Alhuli, who qualified in the top 10, was looking really good on his lead run against Kelly Wong, but he went off track, put lots of wheels on the dirt, had a big straighten up, and that handed the advantage to Kelly Wong in the sleeker spare Safiro, as she kept her run very clean indeed throughout the entire course. Then with Kelly leading, she would put on another good run, but Kudar had a big straighten coming into the horseshoe, and that made the advantage go even further towards Kelly Wong, sealing the deal, and she was able to create the first upset of the weekend and go through to the top 16. Plenty more upsets where that came from though. And let's take a look at a few more of those. The next battle, John Papadopoulos, he qualified in the top 10 and was looking in top form on his lead run against Matt Russell. Matt Russell had to go a little bit shallow in a couple of spots to try and keep up, although he drove well. But Papa blitzed him on his lead run, but it all fell apart for the Insane Drifter on the second run. After the entry, Papadopoulos had a massive correction and straighten coming in and almost completely lost drift, and that massive straighten up created a huge advantage for Matt Russell, and Matt Russell was able to take the win in the Import Monster AE86 and move through to the top 16. The next big upset in the top 32 was when Hayden Buckham was defeated by Lee Pidwell. This battle also caused a lot of controversy. Hayden Buckham led first in the all-type crash VE Ute and had a massive advantage after Lee Pidwell had this big straighten on the entry. Hayden Buckham then simply able to drive away on the rest of that course. Now Lee Pidwell knew that after that he would have to pull off some type of miracle in the second run. He would need Hayden Buckham to spin if he wanted to try and get through, as a spin had been 0 for Hayden Buckham. So that's what Lee Pidwell attempted to do by pulling off a huge entry. You can see here what happened. Hayden Buckham made contact with Lee Pidwell. Now in the rules of ADGP, the follow car must maintain the gap, and if they make contact causing the lead car to spin, then the following car is instantly awarded a 0, and that's why Lee Pidwell went through. Now, Simon Michaelmore up against Ben Purtell. This was always set to be an epic run. They went for a one more time. Let's check out the highlights from that run. Ben Purtell led on the first run, pulled off a big entry. Michaelmore was right there, but coming out of the horseshoe, gearbox problems from Michaelmore caused him to have a big straighten. Problems with third gear, that gave a massive advantage to Ben Purtell on his lead run. And the same thing would strike Simon Michaelmore again on his lead run. A little bit more drama with a bit of contact. As you can see, started off the run to perfection. Ben Purtell was right there, but coming through the horseshoe, third gear problems, big straighten from Michaelmore causing a bit of contact, and Ben Purtell went through to the top 16. Here it is again from the onboard. You can see that big straighten left Ben Purtell with nowhere to go. He went through to the top 16. This battle was epic. Our first real door-to-door battle was between Andrew Considine and Nigel Petrie, and also created a big upset. Let's check out Nigel Petrie's lead run. Considine, though, was able to plant himself right to the back of Petrie and gave the judges and the crowd exactly what they wanted to see. This was one of the most epic battles of the entire event, with Considine glued to the back of that 180SX. Nigel knew that he would have to drive hard after that one, as Considine had a big advantage from how close he was able to get, but Petrie simply wasn't able to match the proximity on his follow lap throughout the entire course. Good on the entry, but Considine just started to pull away on the bank, and that handed Andrew Considine the win in the Confidine Motorsport S14. Let's take another look at that run from the onboard, and you can see just how close Considine was able to get to the back of Nigel Petrie's engineered to slide 180SX. That's it for our top 32 highlights. It's time to catch up with another one of our registered drivers before we head into the top 16 after the break.
Hi, I'm Simon Mishamore from South Australia, driver of the Unique Communications S14. I've been drifting for about 10 years now, so quite a while. I've recently won the Drift Super Cup at South Australia at our home track. I've placed podium finishes in various events throughout Australia. It's an RB25 with an RB26 head. It's got a 3076 turbo on it, external gate, Garage 7 manifold. It's basically internally standard, but just with a really good tune from Garage 7. It's got a Haltech ECU with all the support gear, injectors. It just runs really well. I'm really happy with it. It's making about 300 at the wheels. Could do it a little bit more. Yeah, it's more than enough power to have a bit of fun though. Both myself and Garage 7 do a bit of hands-on work and do our own fabrication with it, so the suspension is pretty much our own design. So we try and do everything that we can ourselves to keep the costs down. Well, body kits don't really last long on a drift car, so it sort of changes all the time. But I try and run Origin kits because they fit well. Origin always helped me out, so I like their kits. I've driven Metal Up for 10 years, so I've got no problem with giving it the best there. So I'm pretty happy that it's coming to Metal Up finally, so it should be right.
Welcome back to round 2 of the Just Car Insurance Australian Drifting Grand Prix. The top 32 has separated the men from the boys, and the top 16 is about to begin as the competition heats up. Well, let's check out that top 16 battle tree. Some epic competition is about to ensue. Our first pairing, though, is Rob White and the Monster Energy 350Z up against Dale Campaign from South Australia in the Linehaul Solutions 1VR. Rob White, even though he qualified first, having a pretty tough run through the competition as Dale Campaign, a very strong competitor. Rob White leads on his first run. Dale Campaign has nothing to lose and he throws it hard along with Rob White. Oh, a little bit of a wall scrape there on that first entry, was able to maintain good proximity, but Rob White started to pull away a little bit coming up onto the bank there. But I tell you what, Dale Campaign able to put on a stellar run, taking the fight to Rob White. No driver really gaining a clear advantage after that run, so Dale Campaign will be driving hard on his lead run to see if he can try and throw off Rob White. He throws it big. Is he able to hold on to it? No, he isn't. Spins it around. A little bit of contact there as well from Rob White. Such a shame. His immaculately presented 350Z. We'll be walking over the couple of battle scars. Let's look at the replay from Rob White's perspective. Dale Campaign simply just threw it too big and couldn't hold on to it. He gave it 110% but wasn't able to make it stick, so Rob White takes the win and moves through to the top 8.
Yeah, look, we had a good lead run. Unfortunately, then he had a spin in front of us on the entry and I had nowhere to go, so I'm yet to see what my car looks like, but I don't think it's going to be pretty.
Our second pairing now in the top 16, Kelly Wong in the Sleeker Spare Safiro, our only female competitor from South Australia, going up against Matt Russell in the Import Monster A86. His little Hutchie may not look like the race car that some of the others are with no stickers covering it, but underneath it's certainly got the goods and he's been putting on a stellar show all weekend. He's on another excellent run here, but Kelly Wong is not able to answer the call. It's all about proximity, ladies and gentlemen, and she doesn't have it on this run, and Matt Russell able to walk away with a big advantage on his lead run. Let's bring him back around now Kelly Wong will lead on her second run. Let's see what she's able to do. Matt Russell takes chase. Coming down the straight from the Just Car Insurance start line into the first corner, initiates. Matt Russell is able to get right on the back of her. What can Kelly Wong do now? Coming to the horseshoe. She has a big straighten up there, which causes Matt Russell to have to back out of it as well, as he had nowhere to go. She manages to continue the drift, but the damage has already been done for Kelly Wong. Let's take a look at the replay from Matt Russell's car. You can see a massive straighten there. He has to back out of it as well. That will hand the win over to Matt Russell in the Import Monster A86. He is going through to the top 8.
I messed up a bit on my chase run and had to straighten because I think Kelly also messed up a bit. But yeah, in the end, I had to fight for it and she did really well. But yeah, got there in the end, I think.
Our next pairing in the top 16, Lee Pidwell and the Forced Motorworks 1V going up against another VE ute, this time the one of Nick Coulson, the Drift Kid, our number 4 qualifier, who has been super consistent all weekend. Can Lee Pidwell pull off another upset? Nick Coulson leads as he is the higher qualifier, throws it big, gets right out to that outer clipping zone. Another consistent run, but Lee Pidwell is able to push right up on the back of him, apply a lot of pressure. This is an awesome chase run from Lee Pidwell. This is what the judges want to see. They want proximity. They want the lead car to try and pull away, but they want that follow car to get right up on the door of that lead car. Let's see if Nick Coulson can return the favour back to Lee Pidwell. Pidwell a little bit shallow on that entry, but Coulson was where he needed to be, out on that outer clipping zone. But he's able to catch back up on the bank and apply pressure to the back of Lee Pidwell's car. That's what the judges want to see. He is able to return that favour, and the advantage now swings back the other way on that run. Looking at the replay, you can see Lee Pidwell all over the back of Coulson. But when the tables were turned, Nick Coulson was able to do it as well and force a rerun. But after Lee Pidwell had mechanical dramas and wasn't able to make the line, the win was awarded to Nick Coulson.
Yeah, well, we had a couple of even runs, so they gave it a rerun to us. And then, yeah, first run was good, Miles behind me, and then he didn't come up for the next round. He went off track, so they gave it to me.
Well, our next pairing in the top 16, look at that, a face only a mother could love. Danny Verhoomis, the godfather of drift in the Achilles Radial JPC S15, up against the redneck drifter, Matt Haimbridge, in the high-tech oils R33. Both running big RV-powered engines, heaps of power. We should see a big smoke show, but what's this? Matt Haimbridge has been left at the line there. He actually missed a gear, and Danny Verhoomis was able to get a nice big lead. Now the judges will be looking to see whether Haimbridge can try and close that gap throughout the course, but he's not able to do so, and Danny Verhoomis will be handed a big advantage on that run. He had an excellent line, pretty much gave a textbook run of the course, but Haimbridge was nowhere to be seen. Let's see what happens now with Haimbridge leading. He throws it into a good entry, but Danny Verhoomis is right there with him. Good line from both drivers out towards that outer clip. Let's see what happens through the horseshoe here. A little bit of a correction there from Danny Verhoomis, but he's still all over the back of Matt Haimbridge, coming through the KW suspension corner and then past the I Love Drift finish line. Let's jump on board with the godfather on this replay, and you can see he is all over the back of Matt Haimbridge. He gets the advantage and takes the win.
I don't even know who won. I won. All right, killer. Oh, yeah, it was wicked. The smoke that thing plumes out, I had my foot flat, didn't care. It's starting to rain. This is killer. It's wicked. Everyone's still out in the rain, watching. Love it. Yeah.
It's time for another one of our Motive DVD drifting technique segments, and this time we're looking at the tandem battles. This is a true test of driver skill and what drifting is all about. Now, it's one thing to do a perfect solo run, where it being a case of practice makes perfect, but there's so many variables when it comes to the tandem battles, with the chase car having to constantly adjust to suit different car and driver combinations. It's one thing to drift on your own, but another thing altogether to do it only centimetres away from the car in front without avoiding contact.
solo's fun, you can do a good lap and whatnot, but the real challenge is doing a good lap on someone's door and also doing a good lap with someone on your door.
Tandem battles, it's a whole new world, you know. You go out here and you run solo battles, it's easy. You just sort of, it's you and the track, you go against each other and you just sort of, you get in the groove, you find your own rhythm, and then you come up against someone in a battle and they may not do the same line as you, they got different strategy, they come in a bit slower, it sort of throws you right off. So you just got to go out and be prepared for anything and just sort of feel confident and just, yeah, go right up against them.
Tandem battle's a lot more challenging than solo runs, because when the person's in front of you, you have to adjust your style to keep up with them. They might be a bit faster than you are, a bit slower. You sort of got to get in there and get in close with them, and it gets a bit hard.
It's probably the most difficult thing in drifting. You sort of have a well set up car, it's set up to compete against the fast guys, and then you come up against a slow driver who doesn't qualify well, and it can throw you right off. So you got to adapt, and you got to sort of make sure you give them space on the entry so you can move up onto them, and then sort of use a lot of handbrake, a lot of clutch, left foot braking every now and then if you need to. So yeah, it's a difficult one, but you got to work through it.